Hello, Steve Gibbs here. Welcome to Doxa Downloads. This is our way of interacting with you guys, even though we can't meet right now. Just want to continue to learn about Jesus and spend some time in His Word. We're going to be going through a study called Reset Your Mind in the book of Philippians. And just to kind of make this more fun, I'm going to have a drawing once a month when we meet in person, September 25th this month. And when we meet, I'm going to draw your name. And if you've been listening and watching these videos, you know I'll be asking a question. And if you respond to that question on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, if you text me, if your mom or dad texts me or messages me on one of those social medias, then I will give you one entry into our drawing. So one per week. You can't answer my question 10 times and get 10 entries, just one per week. And that they'll have a prize. I don't know what that prize is, but it's going to be amazing and you're going to love it. So please watch our videos and respond to my questions. I have a question for you this week. This question is, if you could go anywhere in the world outside of the United States, where would you like to go? Would you like to go, and why would you like to go there? Why would you like to be in those places? So respond, give me a message. I love hearing your answers to the questions. And it'll be great to have that drawing at the end of the month as well. So we're going to be studying Philippians together, and this is actually something I've been reviewing with you guys already. I wanted to do an introduction to the book of Philippians, and so we're going to read that from chapter 1, verses 3 through 11, and it gives us kind of an overview of what the whole book is really about. So it says, "I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, always, in every prayer of mine, for you all, making my prayer with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from this day until now. I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. It is right for me to feel this way about you all because I hold you in my heart. For you are all partakers with me of grace, both in my imprisonment and in the defense and confirmation of the gospel. For God is my witness how I yearn for you all with the affection of Christ Jesus. And it is my prayer that your love may abound more and more with knowledge and all discernment, so that you may approve what is excellent, and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ to the glory and praise of God." So we'll see in the book of Philippians, Paul's in prison, and we're all quarantined, so we kind of can identify with Paul. It's a little bit worse in his situation, but what's Paul doing while he's in prison? Well, he's actually writing like a really encouraging letter to the book of Philippians, or to the people at Philippi. And what's crazy is they're going through a really difficult time. People are trying to destroy their church. They're fighting amongst themselves, and that's destroying the church. There's anxiety, there's depression, there's loneliness, there's worry, and anger, and there's pride. And Paul is writing to them to encourage them. And so how does he encourage them? What can he say to these people that can help them? And it's really resetting their mind, changing their mind, guarding their mind. And I know that's a difficult thing for us to think about because we are all struggling. We're worried, depressed, angry. And how do we guard ourselves from these kinds of anxieties and the loneliness and the anger sometimes that we feel even? How do we guard our minds? Well, Paul says we guard it through Jesus Christ. We think on Jesus Christ. We set our minds. Let this mind be in you that was once also in Jesus Christ. And that's what this passage is going to be about, that we remember what Christ did in our past. We think about what he's doing right now in our present, and we look to the future at what Christ is going to do. And so if we think about those things, that'll help us protect our mind from those issues that we'll be dealing with in our life. Now, I like to protect my head. I use this helmet. This is a chainsaw tree cutting down kind of helmet, and I use it from time to time when I'm cutting a tree down. And so it protects my head. If a limb falls, it hits the limb and doesn't hit my head. So let's watch me cut a tree down. So we are here at the tree that we're going to cut down. Erica has me cut down a tree every once in a while. This is my helmet. It protects my head from things falling on it and hurting it. And the Philippians, they were going through a really rough time, and they needed their thoughts to be protected. And we also need our thoughts to be protected. And so Paul says the best way to protect your thoughts is to think on Christ, to remember what Christ has done in your past, to think about what he's doing right now in your life, and to look to the future and see what Christ is going to do. And so we use our helmet to protect our head from things that are going to hurt us, and we use our thoughts on Christ to protect us from anxiety, depression, loneliness, all the other pains that we go through in our life. So we're going to cut this tree down. We're going to cut it down anyways. So I'm going to cut it down and show you that this is going to protect my head, hopefully. We cut a tree down. Isn't that great? And it was a little tree, so it didn't destroy our fence. And that's really great too. So we're in Philippians chapter 1, verse 3. And just like that helmet protected my head from getting smashed by a tree, which actually, didn't even come close. But because I had a helmet on, I was protected. It's the same thing. Jesus is going to protect our minds if we set our minds on Christ. And Paul says that right at the very beginning, verses 3 and 4, he says, I thank God in all my remembrance of you. He remembers what Christ did in their lives and in his own life, and he's thankful for it. And if we're able to look back and think about what God has done in our lives, what Jesus has done in our lives, it makes us thankful for the work that he's done. And if we're thankful, it helps us with our anxiety, our depression. We're dealing with things, but we're also looking back and thinking what God has done. And that's going to help us as and protect our minds and our thoughts as we are walking through these difficult times. That's what happens in the past. We think even now about what God is doing in our lives, and that's a big help. And so what do we think about? We think about what Christ is doing in and through us. If you look at verse 5, it says, because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now, they're partnering together. They're working together. There's a fellowship, a friendship between Paul and the people at Philippi, and they're working together to further the gospel. This is a community that are working to bring Jesus to the rest of the world. And so we can look at that and say, we have a mission. And so, we've got problems, we've got anxiety, we've got stress, but we have a mission that God has placed us in, and we can be thankful for what Christ has done in the past. We have a mission to do right now, and that will help us protect our minds again from what is trying to attack us right now, whatever it is, pride or anxiety or depression. And then lastly, we can also look to the future at what Christ is going to do in our lives. And that's in verse 6. It says, and I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. So we can look to the future and say, there's a future with Christ. My future isn't with my politics. My future isn't with whatever awesome job I get or whatever person I meet, but most importantly, my future is in Jesus. So guys, be encouraged, have hope because of what you see Christ doing in the future. Be thankful for what Christ has done in the past. Live in the mission of what God is doing right now in your life. And let's have hope for what he's going to do in the future. Thanks a lot. God bless.